The greatest test anything can withstand is time. Just give it time. It will reveal everything, the truth, the outcome, the strength, the weakness. Setbacks, problems, adversity, opposition, challenges, these are all expected. But remember this, they're never permanent. When you're trying to do something difficult, your brain gives you a different hard thing to do, one that feels useful, but it's not the thing. And if you give in, which you often will, your brain gets a little dopamine hit for winning. That win grows stronger. That avoidance gets reinforced. Anything you let win the internal argument, grows. So how do you beat someone who doesn't quit? You don't. How do you stop someone who gets stronger every time they suffer, instead of weaker? You don't. Everyone's going to go through something. What separates us is how we handle it. We all have problems, but what makes us different is how we solve them. You have to be your own biggest believer, even when no one else sees it. Even when no one claps. Even when no one shows up. One day, you'll wake up and see the truth. You had the potential, but you chose comfort over effort. Fear is not overcome by motivation. It's overcome by discipline. I'm scared. I'm hesitant. I don't know if I want to do this. Do it anyway. That's how you win. What got me here? Discipline. Not talent. Not luck. Not inspiration. Just discipline. Because who I used to be. I was the opposite of this. I was the guy who second-guessed everything. Every choice, every move, every moment. But eventually, I learned. All those little doubts get crushed under one force. Discipline. And that's what it's always going to take. There's a poem, the kind a man recites when his courage is slipping. It goes. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be, for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of fate, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears, looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That line, I am the captain of my soul. It reminds me who I am. Because I was the one who ran away from everything. Every responsibility, every challenge, every truth. But here's what I've learned. Pain is real. But suffering, that's a choice. You got cheated on. That's pain. But 3 years later, still saying, you can't trust anyone. That's suffering. You lost money, failed in business, got embarrassed in public. That's pain. But now you're too scared to try again. That's suffering. So I ask you, what pain have you been dragging around so long it turned into suffering? What did you not process? What did you not learn from? Because suffering waits. It shows up when you're alone. It whispers, remember me? And for too long, maybe you said, yeah, I remember. But not anymore. Decide today. Declare today. Suffering ends. Pain is part of life. And the more pain you felt, the more that means you've been playing big. But we don't have to suffer. We grow through challenge. We evolve through adversity. Life is a weight room, and the load we lift is what shapes the soul. Let it hurt. Let it teach. Then let it go. You are the captain. Steer. And I lift weights that are easy for me. I don't grow. There's no tension, no resistance. And without resistance, there's no change. But when I start lifting something heavy, something that pushes me, stretches me, hurts a little, that's when the muscle tears. That's when growth begins. And life? Life is exactly the same. The weight room is a microcosm of life. If I want to grow, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, then I have to lift heavy things. I have to go through resistance. Through tension. Through discomfort. That's what makes me stronger. That's what makes me evolve. But just like lifting weights, if I give up when it gets hard, if I drop the weight when it starts to hurt, I won't get what I came for. Breaks are okay. Quitting isn't. There will be times when you need to pause. Regroup, recover, catch your breath. But you don't give up. You pick the weight back up. Because growth doesn't come easy. Wins don't come easy. Wins are earned. We live in a world that says, hey, showing up is half the battle. No, it's not. Showing up is none of the battle. If you think showing up is half the fight, you're still miles away from winning. From being great. From being limitless. Life is hard. But life is better when you're working towards something. It doesn't have to be a huge goal. It can be anything that pulls you out of bed in the morning. Something that makes you chase the day. Something that pushes you forward. Because here's the truth. It feels good to get better. It feels good to feel strong. It feels good to live with purpose. And discipline gives you that purpose. So yeah, life is hard. But that's the point. The harder it is, the more it means. Man. There's a purpose behind the pain. A reason for the resistance. A calling buried inside the chaos. I don't know you. I don't know your story, your past, your current situation. But if you feel lost, if you feel stuck, unmotivated, aimless, I can almost guarantee one thing. You haven't been in motion. Because an object at rest stays at rest. And the longer you sit still, mentally, emotionally, physically, the heavier it gets to move. The problem isn't that it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. The problem isn't that you're scared. Fear is normal when you're facing something meaningful. The problem isn't that you want to give up. We all want to quit sometimes. The real problem is that you believe it's not supposed to be like this. But it is. These obstacles, they're the tests. They're the price of admission for the life you say you want. They were in the terms and conditions. The fine print you never read. When you dared to dream something bigger. So don't curse the struggle. Embrace it. Smile at the pain. Because one day, you'll look back on this exact moment. And call it the good old days. The difference between those who make it and those who don't. It's not potential. It's not talent. It's not privilege or luck or natural ability. It's perseverance. It's the quiet warrior who gets out of bed. Even when it's easier to stay down. It's showing up. Again and again and again. When no one's clapping. When no one's watching. When no one's coming to save you. It's giving yourself a chance. Sleep when you need to. Recover when you must. But get back up. Come back to the fight. Because at the end of the day, the breakthrough might not come today. Or tomorrow. But it can't come if you stop moving. So bless yourself with effort. Honor yourself with consistency. And above all, give yourself a chance. The more you feel backed into a corner, the more you throw yourself against the wall. Something will stick. Eventually, something will catch, if you keep going. That's all I ever wanted. To become a better version of myself. To look in the mirror and see potential becoming reality. To feel proud of the man I was becoming. And it didn't come from some perfect formula. It came from staying in motion. From waking up and grinding, even when it felt pointless. From from having a plan. And most of all, from staying consistent. That's what most people are missing today. Consistency. The will to stay on the path, even when it gets boring, even when it gets hard. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you do that defines you. It's who you are. It's not the talent that gets you there. It's the identity that keeps you there. How you move. How you treat people. How you live when no one's watching. That's your real legacy. Do what's right, not what's easy. Live with principle. Because there are people who live life a certain way. They carry themselves differently. Not because it's convenient, but because it's who they've chosen to become. And look, risk is scary. But regret is terrifying. If you risk nothing, you risk everything. Success isn't some safe harbor, it's not a guarantee. It's an illusion if you're too afraid to leap. Because the truth is, results, respect, and resilience, they all live on the other side of risk. So be bold in the face of fear. Take the leap. Trust yourself. Never abandon your path. Because this isn't just about what you're doing. This is about who you're becoming. You only get one life. And if you work it right, one is enough. If you give it everything, your focus, your discipline, your heart, you'll unlock your full potential. And once that happens, who knows what could come? That's the beautiful part. But here's the reality. If you don't show up, you already know the outcome. You'll never get the job. Never get the part. Never get the girl. Never get the life. If you don't show up, you're guaranteeing failure. But when you do show up, even when it's scary, even when you're unsure, you give yourself a chance. A chance to create something. To grow. To win. And listen, failure, that's not something to avoid. Failure is a prerequisite. It's the tuition you pay to become who you're meant to be. Sometimes the thing that feels like a setback. The season where nothing's moving. Where you're forced to slow down, sit still, and recalibrate. That's not a curse. That's the spring being pulled back before the launch. That's the reset before the run. That's life preparing you for your next level. So don't run from the stillness. Use it. Recoil the spring. Rebuild. Refocus. And when the time comes, show up. Take what's yours. Because if you don't, someone else will.